Everyone, would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a short invocation? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, as we gather this evening, we thank you once again for this wonderful community that we live in. We thank you for the privilege that it is to serve this community, and we ask for your strength, courage, and wisdom in all of our decisions. In your name we pray, amen. Call to order the Mooresville Town Council meeting, September 16th. Council members have had a chance to read their minutes from our previous meeting. I need a motion to either, was this sent in the packet? Okay. There is under legal counsel where we did the 1 East Main Street Town Lien Assessment, minimum bid at, and it was printed as take sale, and Diane corrected it to tax sale. So there is one correction on these as they were presented to you. If gentlemen have had a chance and are good with that, I need a motion to approve with that amendment.
I'd like the motion we approve with, as written with that amendment.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Josh Kirk, 5-0. Next item on the agenda is the website vision mission statement. Vision and mission statement. You can see the red lines in that, and that was as I think had you'd worked on that, hadn't you, Josh?
Yeah, the vision statement pretty much just stayed the same. The mission statement kind of just added visit in the residents that call this community home. It's in the red, so, and then we took out the word growth. I kind of felt like it was contradicting itself. We're talking about small town growth, or small town, and then we're talking about growth. So that's really only things that was changed.
Any comments from the board?
Why did we take the word growth out?
When you look down to the when it had, I think what his comment was, we had growth in the top sentence, and then if you go down to the bottom, our vision is to preserve the small town character.
So we're kind of talking about growth, but then we're talking about small town character. So felt like it was kind of contradicting. That's what I mean. That's kind of what I just came up with. I didn't hear from anybody else, so I didn't know.
Your thoughts? Okay. Motion to have this added to our website.
I'll make the motion that we have this mission statement as written and the vision statement on our town website.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Josh Gregg, 5-0. Under new business, the Kendrick Foundation, Miss Keely Wright. Come on up. Come on down.
So thank you all for having me. My name is Keely Wright. I'm the executive director of the Kendrick Foundation, and
Can you touch the microphone so it's red?
Toward the front.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
I have to start over.
No. Please do. I mean, you don't have to walk back to your seat and walk up.
So yes, Keely Wright, executive director of the Kendrick Foundation. I am also honored to lead the Morgan County Mental Health Task Force. I just wanted to start off by thanking you all for your partnership over the years, for your support of Mental Health Month in May, but also your financial contribution to the Mental Health Task Force. A couple of years ago, as we were working on the first, as far as I know, state opioid settlement match grant, So I don't know how much background I need to share. I sent materials prior to the meeting for you all to review, but I'm happy to share any background or history that, that would be helpful from your perspective. So basically with that state opioid settlement match grant that I referred to, and you all contributed $24,000 as a commitment on that grant that we did not receive. But we learned a lot through that process, and that also gave us the opportunity to partner with the county and help oversee distribution of the county's opioid settlement funds. So I'm really proud of what we accomplished. This first round of grant making, we awarded 11 organizations over $1 million for 2 years, some of them to address our local opioid epidemic. And then we did it in a way that was relatively transparent, competitive, and we also sought community input for how those dollars should be prioritized, and that really directed where those funds were spent. So what I'm just asking of the town of Mooresville this evening is if you all would like to partner with us going forward on our next round of grant making, potentially. And I don't have a specific dollar amount that I'm requesting. I'm more interested in the partnership and the potential collaboration going forward.
I appreciate what you did before, and I just want to clarify, because I know there could be the newspaper and people, you did not receive the matching grant that you applied for, but we did still go ahead and participate.
Yes.
With the $24,000.
Yes, you followed through on your
Yes.
commitment.
I just wanted to make sure that.
Greatly appreciated, and thank you for clarifying.
Yes, I just want to make sure, I know that we're kind of a Scrooge sometimes with the money, and I just wanted to make sure that this time it was followed through. Are there any questions for her? I had a couple, but, one of the things that, and it's, I don't know whether it's that time of year, I don't know whether someone's seen the agenda. I had someone actually called and said, hey, can we talk to you about the restricted portion of that? And what have you used? And we talked about our partnership before, and you were already placed, you hadn't been placed on the agenda, but we'd had a conversation last month, and you had scheduled it. So our agenda hadn't been placed, so I don't know how that came about. They were from some news media, and one of the questions in your documentation of what you requested from the recipients of your grant writing, the people that you were going to dole the money to, was their budgets. And one of the questions was, the partners that we had, did we have any idea of how much of every dollar went towards the crisis itself? And do you know that? I mean, do you guys, is that part of your matrix, your scoring system, is how much of the money is used? I know you asked for their budgets. I don't know if it's their total budgets, or if it's just the budgets of that one project.
I'm not sure I understand your question correctly, but we do ask for budgets as far as how the dollars they're requesting with local opioid settlement funds would be utilized. They can also show other cost sharing, other costs, and who's paying for what, which is usually pretty helpful, and we encourage cost sharing for obvious reasons. But and then I don't know either the background of your question, but one of the things I was going to share about our work group is we're also considering an opportunity for another round of state opioid settlement match grant. It's a dollar for dollar match. So potentially we can double our money up to whatever the state caps are for the initiatives. So that's also something we're considering with the Morgan County group.
I guess what the question was, and I hadn't thought of it until that was brought up, is, if $1 of these unrestricted funds go to one of your recipients that qualifies for that, is there something that tells you, hey, 98 cents of every dollar is going towards this, 2% administrative? Or are you counting on 100% of it going to the project?
No, 100% of it should be going towards the budget based on whatever they proposed should be going to the project based on what they proposed in their budget and what was approved. One of the things that we do with the Morgan County Opioid Settlement Group or grants is they have to submit with their proposals an action plan and clearly identify which of the strategies they are implementing from Exhibit E. So it has to be an abatement strategy. Most of the dollars that we had for this last round of grant making were abatement, but we did have access to some of the unrestricted, and we wanted to put that towards abatement as well.
And it is a pass-through as far as the Kendrick Foundation, the $24,000 that we gave you the last time, all of that was doled out. I think that one there, you partnered with
Stability First, yes. Stability First is currently the fiscal agent for the Better Communities Coalition, as it's not its own 501c3. So they've partnered with Stability First, which is also a founding member of the Better Communities Coalition, to kind of serve in that role. Because right now the Better Communities Coalition is exploring its options as far as becoming its own nonprofit organization.
And the money still may go through you to get to them, is that correct?
That's a good question. I don't know how the money would be pooled. I mean, it could be potentially, and bear with me here, it's just an example of how it could work. I mean, we could have our request for proposals. You all could potentially have a member, designated person as part of the work group. Anything that's Mooresville specific, that you all want to fund specifically for Mooresville, you could grant with that organization directly potentially, or I don't know if it could go through the county and then everything goes out together. So the mechanics of that I'm woefully ignorant about.
So you guys aren't the administrator of the funds, or are you?
No, the money comes from the county and is granted directly with those organizations who were awarded. We lead the Morgan County Mental Health Task Force. We have multiple work groups underneath the task force umbrella. One of them is the local opioid settlement funds work group, and so we coordinate everything for that. We also put together the request for proposal. We use Smarter Select for the applications. We have a rubric that the applications are graded on. All the scores are averaged. And then, we look at that, but then we also have meetings as a work group and kind of review those results and make some decisions from there, ask questions of the applicants as far as like needing clarification, and then, go from there.
Can you give us a couple of examples about what the organization has done?
Which organization?
The coalition?
The Morgan County Mental Health Task Force. Well, we were established in 2021. We're part of the Better Communities Coalition. It's another big umbrella coalition that has multiple task forces addressing different priority areas for Morgan County. We follow the SAMHSA Strategic Prevention Framework. So we have done an assessment of behavioral health in Morgan County. So you've got an updated fact sheet here with some updated data. We also do awareness type events as far as Mental Health Month, getting those local proclamations. We try to reduce stigma through those types of events. We have an advocacy work group. We've hosted a Better Communities Coalition policymaker meet and greet where we had a lot of our state and local elected officials in attendance to talk about all of these issues. one of our biggest things that I think is the most tangible is overseeing the distribution of local opioid settlement funds. So in the news article that I shared with you, it really outlines those grantees and how much they're getting how much funding they are getting and what they are doing. So I think this is just the start.
Well, I guess you know, in your documentation that you sent to us, you know, one of the, for budget, for points, 10 points, it says, put proposed budgets in a table format, must include components such as anticipated wage, salary, expenses, materials, and supplies. And I guess that's where that question, when the lady asked me, you know, do you know what's a percentage of each dollar that you spend, how much is going to actual opioid assistance, whether it's survivors, the mental health of the survivors, or the cessation or stopping of the use. So I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah, I can't answer that question either, but I would just say that implementing those strategies takes people. You know, providing those services takes people, and so that's why there are personnel costs.
Well, and that's why I didn't know if, when it says 10 points, I didn't know if you had a matrix in there, or if it's just, okay, they did submit it, let's give them 10 points. I didn't know if that was something that the coalition kind of awarded points at different levels for that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, you know, we didn't think very highly of high admin cost, you know, just like a 10%, you know, admin, like off the top. So I don't think that we looked favorably on those types of just straight admin costs. But no, it's not part of the rubric, and it's, you know, it's something that can change and we could add potentially later, depending on if the work group would be on board for that, but I see your point.
It kind of sounds like you already took it into consideration just a little bit.
Yeah, just not
just not in
in
right.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then too, you can see there's an opportunity for bonus points. So if people were directly addressing the priority as established by the community through our community prioritization survey, then they got an extra 5 points. And if they were addressing, which the priority was to increase access to behavioral health services, and then if they were addressing a priority population too, they got an extra 5 points. I think that's how it was. It's been a minute since I've looked at that, but.
When is the next round of grants?
Well, if everything goes according to plan, it would be at the beginning of 2026. However, I did mention that we are considering the state opioid settlement dollar-for-dollar match grant. So
That's what I meant. When is that application due?
that application is due October 6th. They have 3 different strategy areas. Prevention, where the state will fund up to, or match up to $150,000 for prevention initiatives if awarded. There's one for transportation, which is the same deal for $150,000, and then they have one for recovery residence capital, and that max cap is $500,000. So transportation and prevention, the deadline is October 6th for that state opioid settlement dollar-for-dollar match grant, and then the recovery residence capital is due, I believe, sometime in December.
Do you know which one you guys may chase?
Well, it's not going to be us. It would be one of the organizations within Morgan County that are providing the services. But it would be us saying that and this is all not worked out, not official. It's all very tentative. It's just something we're considering. It would be providing a letter of commitment that if awarded these dollars, the local would match up to X amount for that initiative. Does that make sense? Okay.
But do you think someone in the subcategories, do you think someone will be applying for all 3 I mean, individually, all three, or do you know?
Like say,
One for the transportation, one.
but different organizations
Yes.
potentially applying for all three?
Yes, not
Yeah.
one organization applying for three, but three.
I think we could have at least a couple.
Okay. Because I think the last time you were kind of specific on the request or the partnership that it was going to be towards mental health, as far as the grant that you were applying for 2 years ago. Is that right?
What we got from, yes, the town of Mooresville for that grant was specifically for the task force. And you all contributed $24,000, and that was to support the consultant that we were working with to kind of facilitate the task force activities, the meetings, all the things. We also do training. That was, you had asked what we do. We do a lot of evidence-informed trainings on mental health first aid for adults, mental health first aid for youth. One of our behavioral health consultants went to the Martinsville Chamber this year and did some kind of workplace mental health training, very fast, because those are short meetings. But there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of need for that. We do stigma reduction type training, so professional development. And a lot of times, well, one, the trainings are offered for free, but then they also get the free continuing education units that they're required to have.
You said you think the applications are October 6th?
For the state opioid settlement match grant. And I can send you a link if you want to take a look at that opportunity.
When would you know who's applying for what? Do you know that?
For that grant in particular,
For those match
match dollars.
Yeah, for us to say, if we made a commitment right now that we'll match dollar for dollar up to $12. I don't want to overcommit, but up to $12 or whatever. But we don't know, you have 3 areas that they could be. When will you know what you're going to do? Because, I asked, can we just say, okay, you pick which one we're going to match? He said we probably ought to have a little more information. We won't have another meeting before the 6th deadline. So that's what I was thinking. Last time it was pretty specific, we're going to go with this here. If you said, hey, we're definitely going to go with the transportation, but if you don't have anyone applying for a match from the state, I guess what we're doing is I'm willing, 1/5 of the board, willing to bet some of our money on doubling our money, is doubling your money, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know which one of those you don't know of any of those for sure that you're.
I do, but I haven't talked to any of them about
Okay.
having this conversation with you all, because I was mainly bringing it as which I love the idea of you all doing some of the match too, but I was mainly bringing it to you all to see if you'd be interested in that competitive grant-making process that we plan to do at the beginning of 2026, similar to what we did in 2025. But it's not the bang for your buck of double your money, which, gets me pretty excited, that opportunity.
That's what I was thinking. What is the residency thing that you were talking about? The third one that's due in December. What is that?
It's capital to build a recovery residence. So no one has approached me about that at all.
That's one of the 3.
It's one of the 3, yeah.
What was the other one?
There's funding for
Transportation.
prevention, transportation, and then capital for recovery residents.
Yeah.
Could we commit so much with the obligation of it being used either for the match? And if not, then.
So I think it depends upon what the ask is right now. If you're asking this council to commit to your grant application process that you're looking in 2026, there's plenty of time there to have further discussions for the council to make a determination. What I'm hearing is that while there's a deadline for the matching grant on October 6th, you're not really approaching the council today to say, hey, will you contribute for that funding?
I'm not,
Okay.
no.
Okay, I got ahead of myself.
No, but I understand the appeal, and I certainly wouldn't turn it down. But yeah, I was,
And it may be a situation in which you have some applicants who say, we want to do this, and that you need to then find the funds to support the matching amount, that she can come back to you after the 6th if something is awarded.
Would
okay,
they
I
have
think
to
I just,
document, would they have to document us as a matching partner, though, on the application?
I don't know the ins and outs of that application.
yeah, I mean, the October 6th thing is really ambitious. I hope we can make it work, but I don't know. Just the timing, kind of like what you're saying.
Which one was December?
December is the recovery, residence capital.
I think that one would be pretty aggressive there. I'm gonna say that I want to use this money in the way that it was intended to be used. I want to make sure that we get the best bang for the buck. I don't know how else to say it, on something that we've received the money at someone else's misfortune. So we want to make sure that it's spent in a proper way. Let's do this. Let's circle around. Obviously, we can't meet all together, but maybe talk to each of us individually. Let's come up with a plan on what we can possibly do for the first of the year.
Okay, that's awesome.
Is that all right with the council members?
Yeah,
Definitely interested in
Okay,
being a partner.
good. Love to have you on board. Like I said, it's more about the collaboration than the dollar amount.
But don't spend all that $12 at one time.
But thank you so much for your time and
Thank you.
consideration
Sorry
and
to drag us
willingness.
down that other rabbit hole, but when you say one-for-one match, we're all about grants around here.
Yeah, I mean, are you able to make decisions in between meetings at all via email? Nothing? Okay,
Cannot.
understood. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't come with that prepared to have that conversation.
And there will be other matching grants that the state's gonna have because this is being paid out over a number of years. And so that may just be some food for thought for the next round.
Right.
Planning a little bit in advance to see if we can't make that partnership.
And do you, maybe we need to check and see if that's gonna be a quarterly round or a biannual round of those.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
So maybe we could jump in on that.
Yeah, and it definitely, this has been, like, having this opportunity has been a light bulb for me, just like we need to build in the process, things like this. Each time they say it's a first of its kind, it's, yeah. And it is different than the first one, because the first one you only had to contribute anything, a penny, technically, it would have met the requirement, because there was no required amount, just something. And this time it's a dollar for dollar match. So yeah, we need to figure out how to do this process better.
It's worked for us on paving our streets, so let's see if we can make it work for this.
The match,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So next time for sure.
Okay,
Thank you all very much.
thank you. Jonathan Young. Come on. Not everyone has the privilege of knowing you, so you may want to introduce yourself.
I'm Jonathan Young of Mooresville, Indiana.
Okay, Jonathan, you're requesting a sewer hook-on. And this is the house that sits on Landersdale between.
5020 East Landersdale Road.
Okay, so it's, I don't know, Was it Ray's old house?
Yes, 5020 East Landersdale Road.
And you have, currently that house is on a septic, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And the septic has failed at this time?
yes,
Okay. And we ran through this with the subdivision there, the Ray Young subdivision. It had failed, and I think that's probably been about 15 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. And each one of those individually had failed, and we did put sewer in there. So we do have sewer along the north side of that subdivision. We don't have it all the way out to Landersdale Road. But I assume that it could be extended. In some-
it's currently extended to Lot 35 of the Ray Young subdivision. There's a manhole there, and from that manhole going west, 86 feet, there is a riser for this 5020 East Landersdale house, per Joe Bikeman.
There's a riser there.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a riser for Lot 33, Lot 34, and Lot 33. Or 33, 34, and 35, and 5020 East Landersdale Road.
Takes off north from that line. Takes off, there's a line that runs,
There's a line that runs east and west, and on that line that runs east and west, all four of the risers are marked on the plat with the distances from the manhole to the risers.
okay. And 3 of those lots are annexed into the town of Mooresville.
That I do not know.
Okay, and you would be willing to annex your parcel, the parcel with the Ray's house on, you would be willing to annex it into the town of Mooresville?
I would maybe entertain the idea, but I don't know what all comes with that, so I can't answer that.
Okay, well, and, you know, your dad served on our planning commission for many years, did a great job, and the reason that he doesn't serve today is because the non-jurisdictional control area, the buffer zone, was taken away from us by the county. They said, we're gonna take care of that. Now, past history, we had extended sewer lines into the buffer zone or the non-jurisdictional control areas, with the understanding that when we had contiguity to those properties, they would not fight annexation. Once that was taken away, I personally made the comment that from this point forward, any hook-ons to our sewer need to be annexed into the town of Mooresville. I'm just one council member, and that's why I'm asking you, would you be willing to annex that one parcel into the town of Mooresville?
I would entertain that idea, but, I mean, tell me what you're providing and what I give up by doing that. I guess that, I mean, I don't know what I get, and I don't know what I give up.
You get, which, keep in mind, you get police protection at that parcel. If you call today, call 911 and say, I have a major emergency, someone's breaking into the house, more than likely through an agency assist, you're gonna get a Mooresville police officer. But if you have a non-emergency call, you're gonna get a county sheriff. They will get up here as promptly as they can. If you are in the town of Mooresville, you are going to have the police, you're gonna have the Mooresville Fire Department at your, as part of your bill for your taxes. Leaf pickup, believe it or not, that is a vital thing to some people. And then you're gonna have the opportunity to hook to the sanitary sewer, which is what your request is. That's the main reason. And what are you going to lose? You're gonna lose part of your tax rate. You're going to, right now, I don't know the exact difference in the tax rate, but it's about 17 or 18 cents per $100 of assessed value. Your taxes will go up to be in the town of Mooresville.
So are you saying you're gonna do this now, or?
What I'm saying is, my comment has been in the past that before anyone hooks onto the sewer, they will be annexed into the town of Mooresville. I'm 1/5 of the board though.
I understand that. I guess my question is what about the other existing houses down Landersdale Road?
We don't have contiguity to them at this point in time, and we hooked them on in good faith that we would still be in control of the buffering zone of the non-jurisdictional control area. We still had oversight of the zoning and building in those areas as far as through the buffer zone. That's what the difference is.
Well,
We lost that.
I guess some of it, I guess it just goes back to, when this was put in, the riser was put there, and if Papal so chose, he could have hooked up to it then.
I'm going to tell you, I
Joe
was on
said that we could.
I'm going to tell you, I was on the council at that point in time, and Joe was our Department of Public Works Director. He was not a council member and probably didn't have the authority. And to the best of my knowledge, I did not know that there was a lateral line run off of that sewer. I don't know that I ever remember seeing that on the as-built. I know your grandfather and I had a conversation because we didn't run that line. He wouldn't allow us to run that line on out to Landersdale Road. It stops there.
No,
in between.
the line should have been extended to Landersdale Road.
And we wanted.
He did not fight to have it stopped where it is stopped. He wanted it all the way to Landersdale. It was, you guys stopped it before Landersdale.
I think your grandfather and I and Ross Holloway had a very lengthy conversation about that, and I would probably argue that with you at this point in time. I'm just saying that. Comments from the board, questions?
I mean, basically too, like what he's saying, now that we don't have that buffer zone, we kind of lose control. You can get something approved and then you could put a trailer park in there, just saying.
Well, I mean, it is a 1
Then all
acre
of us
lot,
could
so
hook
there's
up.
nothing else that could go there.
Well, you say that, but you rezone stuff and then, then you put some trailers in there and then they all hook in. So we've kind of lost control there a little bit. But when we had the buffer zone, we would tie in because we had control of what was going to be developed. So.
Right, but once you already have lot number 1 of the minor plat, there could be no more lots created under a minor plat. So therefore, there's no way to rezone I'd have to mini-plat it and bring it back in, which you guys would have control if I mini-platted it.
No, we wouldn't. You just summed it up right there. That's what we want, is some kind of control if you minor platted it. You just summed it up because right now it would not come back to us. We lost that when they took the buffer zone away from the town of Mooresville. So you summed it up exactly.
But the sewer is still on you, and if I changed, then I'd have to come back just like I am tonight and ask to hook onto it again.
And the same.
Because I don't have 54 risers there for 54 trailers that we're going to put on this 1 acre lot.
You would give the same argument at that point in time that you're giving now. But like I said, I don't know,
I don't want to remonstrate against it, and I want to hook up. I guess the thing is, if I buy a gallon of milk at the store and I get home and that milk's spoiled, did I give up my right to return that milk that was spoiled to the store? I mean, I don't have to tell them, hey, I'm going to take this home and I'm not going to bring it back no matter what. Because at the time you would want to annex.
we'll want
I
to
guess-
annex before you hook on, yes. Yes.
But I'm held to a different standard than everybody else in that area.
Because we have been given new standards. Because the town of Mooresville has had something taken away from them, and that is the control of that.
County took control of that.
So I guess the question is back on you. Do you want to request annexation at this time?
Well, I mean, what's the temporary fix? I mean, we have the back of the septic tank is collapsed. It's not functioning right now, so and it is right there. I mean, technically, if we got down to it, it is on our property. I understand there might be an easement for it. I don't know, depending on where it really is. If it's on the lots or if it's over on our side. But like I said, the riser was put in for the intent, and we were told we could hook up, and that was, that was a man's word, standing there telling another man. I mean, I would consider it, certainly, but like I said, we got to do something to.
So you would consider it, but you're not committing to it.
Well, I mean, if you, I would do it, but like I said, I mean, so I guess you're gonna plow the snow in front of that lot.
No, we're not taking the road in. That is not.
I'm not asking, I didn't ask, but if you're annexed, I owned the center of the road, so then wouldn't that be part of that?
I don't think you own the center of the road.
But you're annexing it. When you annexed the lots 33, 34, and 35, that was a county road as well.
We annexed the entire subdivision, including the roads.
Oh, so you can take a lot but not take a county road.
Say it again.
Oh, okay, I guess because the lot, that property goes to the center of the road. So if you're gonna annex that, then are you gonna make an exception for the road then?
I don't think you own to the center of that road. Have you ever had to pave that road?
Okay,
As the
I
county-
guess,
as the county, it
I
was-
guess the survey is that you are to the center of the road and they have an easement over that.
Yeah, the right of way.
Right.
Road right of way.
I guess what's the process of annexing?
Yeah, so there's several different ways to do it. What would be contemplated here is what's called super voluntary annexation. So you would petition the council for annexation. There's a advertisement process, a public hearing that has to go, be held. Can't be sooner than 14 days, can't be later than 60 days, so there's a window that it goes through. With that annexation process, once you go through the final hearing, then the council would consider an annexation ordinance adopting that, your parcel, into the town. And so it's probably a 60-day window from the initial petition to when you can take action on the annexation itself. Once a petition is started, though, I mean, I think traditionally what you've done is once somebody's applied for it and started the process, you've addressed.
You can address that once the
issues.
process is started.
Yeah.
So when can I actually hook on to the sewer?
Once, like to say, the process has started.
So
we're good.
I think what this council has done in the past is when a petition is given to the council for super voluntary annexation, then that opens a door with a commitment that that petition's not gonna be withdrawn, essentially.
So if I said that right now, that's good enough?
I can't speak for this council, but I think if you would say you want to start the process, I can work with you to get the paperwork drawn up, but then the council can consider now what action they would take.
Question for legal, if he does commit to this tonight, where do we stand legally if he hooks on and then backs out of the annexation?
Well, that's the issue, that there would be a commitment that there would not be a withdrawal of that petition.
And how would that commitment be enforced?
Well, it would be taking this public record and putting an action in front of the court to say, the commitment was made in order to extend sewer there. We have lived up to our end of that bargain of extending that sewer, so it's kind of a promissory estoppel type of argument with it. It can be messy, because you gotta get the court involved in that situation. But that's how it would have to be enforced.
So what he's saying is, if you say, yes, I want to start this, I want to annex, what he can do is he can start the process, he can get the legal documentation that's going to say you're not going to back out of the annexation, and that if you do back out, you're going to pay for all the legal fees, and we will sue you to make sure that you do. In return, we're gonna allow you to hook onto the sanitary sewer. Now, I would say that could proceed, if you can get that all done by our next meeting, then we can go ahead and authorize the hook on. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can get that done by next meeting.
Yeah, because we will have 3 weeks between this meeting and the next meeting. Is that, do you?
So when can I actually start digging and hooking on, if I agree to what we just said?
I would say it's gonna be at least 3 weeks.
It's not that it bothers me, because it does in a little, but I mean, the family that's there now, you know, they're dealing with this situation based on.
We
but
had
I
the same,
get that.
we had the same thing there with the subdivision. A lot of those got put on a
Right.
pump and dump.
Yeah,
And,
right.
I mean, we lived with that, we hustled that through as quickly as possible, but in that case there, we took almost a year to get everything done.
What, I don't take this as a threat, but just what keeps me from hooking onto it?
A lawsuit.
I mean, if a utility is there, it's for the people, right?
Well, this is a municipally owned utility, and they have a service area within their corporate boundaries. And so that's the problem here is, as I'm looking at the map, it is right outside of the corporate boundaries. And so, the utility gets to decide who gets to hook up to that. And so, you know, if there's a improper hookup, then it would be a lawsuit and an injunction.
So the other houses that are hooked currently that are outside of the area, the only reason that they're able to do what they're doing without asking is because,
They all did ask. They all did ask, and we approved them. Your dad was a part of approving them. Because, and he said on this board, because of that very reason, that we had jurisdictional control of unincorporated areas of 2 miles from our corporate lines. And what we said then is, we said, you will build houses in this manner, you will build them at this, you know, this far apart, this much of a setback. We had both zoning and building ordinance control.
but those people that are hooked there currently now, that are outside of this area, they could go to the county and ask to do something different, correct? Kind of like what you were saying earlier about I could do that, and then you corrected me and said, well, that's what we're trying to prevent against. But so those people, since they're outside of that jurisdiction, they could do something different and hook on.
I would say if someone said, hey, I wanna take and I wanna go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the county, and I wanna get a non-conforming use in here, I wanna cut dog hair, or I wanna start a business in this house, they could go to the county at this point in time. That's why we were so upset about losing it. They could go to the county at this time and go before a board and make changes on that. Absolutely, they sure could. For years and years, they had this buffer zone, and it worked very well. And then the county decided that they thought they could do it better. The comment was made that it was taxation without representation. It was exactly the opposite of that. They had representation. I think your dad sit on the planning commission for the whole time that we had a buffer zone that I know of. So they had representation without any type of taxation. we lost that ability to oversee and set our standards for what was going to happen within that 2-mile buffer zone.
So those people outside of that area, they've agreed to
They
what?
agreed to our standards when they hooked onto the sewer.
Okay, so if I agree to those standards, then why can't I
All you gotta
hook
do
on?
is annex in, and you will agree to those standards. That's what I'm telling you.
But I guess
Our
that's
con-
why
our
I don't
control-
feel that I'm being treated fair, because they don't have to annex in, but yet I do.
They
Why?
not have contiguity to them at this point in time. Each and every one of them said, when we have contiguity to them, yes, we will annex into the town of Morrisville. Because they hooked onto the sewer.
So if I agree to whatever you're saying tonight, then, or I guess at what point can I change my mind, or what, or if I come to the next meeting, how far does that back us up?
Well, I think we would have everything lined out for the next meeting to start the process, to have the petition in, have the documentation ready to go. So they could take action at that next meeting to say, yes, start the hookup. In that interim, you and I would work together to have a document together, and I'd probably just have a little agreement essentially of you're going to super voluntary annex in and not withdraw that petition.
And I guess if I have to make that decision tonight, right now, or,
I can get that paperwork done within, so if, in order to get on the agenda, let me pull up my calendar. If you, by like the 29th, if you let me know by September 29th, I can have everything ready for the October 6th meeting.
and that's the point that we're making the decision that we can't change our mind.
Right, once, the no changing the mind is once they approve getting it hooked up and they start digging to put that line in.
That'd be our next meeting.
Yeah.
But you have till then to get with him to say you want to do it or not.
There's nothing we say tonight's gonna change the situation or what we're doing.
Hey, the only thing that I say is, we have to authorize him to work with you. If you don't want us to authorize him to work with you, we don't have to.
No, you can authorize him to work with me, but at
And
that point,
us-
I'm not making the decision, yes or no, right?
No, but that's what I'm saying. We're making a commitment, and if you choose not to make that commitment tonight, that's up to you. But if you think there's a possibility, I'm gonna ask for a vote to authorize him to work with you. And if a majority of this board wants him to work with you, we'll do that. We will make a commitment one way or the other if you want us to do that. If you can't make the commitment to us tonight, we're still gonna go ahead and give you that opportunity to make that commitment between now and the next meeting.
Well, I don't feel like I'm not committing. I mean, there was a commitment given a long time ago, but that guy's not here anymore. And apparently he didn't have the authority to make that commitment, which, if that's the case, I don't understand why the riser got put in, but.
I do.
But that's neither here nor there.
Carol and Ray.
Yeah, I
why
know,
the-
but that's.
That's why the lateral was
Right,
put
yeah,
in.
but that's neither here nor there.
I was there and I knew how that got put in.
Right, but I mean, but at the same time, that benefited everybody, so it's not like, but. Well, I'll yield back to you and let you
Okay.
do what you want.
Counsel, do you want to authorize legal counsel to work with Jonathan on voluntary annexation?
Yes, that is a form of a vote.
I need it in the form of a motion.
So moved.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I would like Josh, did you second that?
Yes.
Greg, Josh, Fido. Parks Department pole barn.
Good evening, council. Part of your packet, you received our formal request that I speak before you this evening. Per our build, operate, transfer project that is currently happening in Pioneer Park, we have been identified through a local family, the Blythe family, as a beneficiary of their current existing pole barn on their property going out towards 42. This barn is a 48 by 80. They have designated with letter of intent to provide this barn for our access to be able to remove offset property and move to the park at no cost from them. They're not looking for any monetary fees or costs contributed from the town to them. For this, they see this as a good faith stewardship to see their barn go to good use rather than being either dismantled or removed by another agency. So tonight, the park board and staff are requesting the use of food and beverage funds that have been allocated for this year's budget. And those remaining funds out of the food and beverage designated for the Parks Department is in the amount of $176,350. The moving and reconstruction of this pole barn for construction costs, you have that in your packet, is $202,428. On top of that 202, there is an additional $34,000 in engineering and permit expenses that are to be expected with this process. With our build, operate, transfer, this opportunity comes very clean to provide basically a change order within that project, as we have an allotted surplus to be able to be used, which keeps us under our guaranteed maximum threshold of the project of 4.2 million. This contingency right now in the budget without the expenditures of this barn is a little excess of 600,000 left in the 4.2 that is unallocated. So tonight it would be the total of 236,428 for total cost of construction of dismantling, shipping, reconstruction as a turnkey process, spray foam installation, utilities connected, and so forth. I'd like to answer the council questions at this time.
What size was the thing, building again?
The size of the structure is a 48 by 80. That is just under 4,000 square foot. It is a 16-foot loft ceiling with trusses on 8 foot on center. It currently has a 18-foot wide, 14-foot tall overhead door that is powered with a motor, a one pedestrian door just to the left of that, and a dual slider of 12 foot of both, opening up to 24 foot, 14 tall. We are looking at the reconstruction, which is not included in this, but reconstructing that slider for more efficiencies of actually doing 2 overhead doors versus that slider to increase the efficiency of the of the actual spray foam installation that's included in the costs.
And you're putting 2 overhead doors, taking out the slider.
Yes, so we have yet to see that cost, but that is our goal as the park board and park staff, is to remove those sliders and do more efficient doors for long-term for cold storage and equipment.
Are they doing that now on the move, or is this at a later date?
So this will be as we rebuild and construct it. So that slider, we have the opportunity of putting basically 2 10-foot wide, 14 tall
Right.
overhead doors with a 4-foot easement, basically wall between. It'll actually build more structure.
That's
versus
with this price.
That is not with this price currently. We are waiting for that to come back. So we're ultimately have all the steel from those doors, so the reconstruction of that would not be, but those overhead doors ranging from $3,000 to $6,000 depending on what classification and specs and models is what we've seen in past. So an additional upwards of 12,000 to include those doors, but that would be on the Parks Department to make that final decision and at our cost through our self-generated revenue fund.
I'm just curious, how old is this barn? How
This
old-
barn was built in 2016, so it is, I can say, in immaculate shape. Literally the only blemish, if you're looking at the building, is about a 6-inch dent on a downspout of the gutter system. That is the only basically blemish that's on that building. The price of that 202 includes concrete floor, spray foam insulation, electrical installed, not just stubbed with a panel. That is lights, that is electrical, 12 outlets installed. The companies that have been identified for this would be JL Construction, Greystone, and MW Electric.
So there's no AC or nothing?
There's no AC.
No
We
heat?
no heat. We do already have a radial gas heater, spare heater actually in our storage right now that can be reinstalled into that new system to provide heat at a very low cost. It basically needs installed into the joist and then a gas hookup with some power. So very minimal cost to include a heat hookup.
Just curious, have you priced a new one?
A brand new one, spec'd exactly as built from FBI Buildings, is $151,500 just for the structure. That is if it popped up into the park with a dirt floor with no utility connections.
You can't go to Menards?
Can't go to Menards. Not, well, you can, but for the same spec building and similarities, it was FBI was the best comparison.
I was looking earlier, Menards had a 40 by 64 for 27,000, new. It's smaller, but not much.
That include doors?
Yeah, so many. I think one overhead and one walk-in front.
Curious to see if the doors would be included in that price. Just speaking from FBI, they do not include that into their price, but they have estimates.
I know you came down and asked about this, but the one thing that we didn't discuss is, you're saying that in the bot that we have now, the $4.2 million, that you have fully funded.
We have fully funded.
You have fully funded. And you're saying that this is still going to come in at that $4.2 million or lower?
Yes, sir. We
So-
have.
So you already have money for this? Is that right?
The excess was the part of the contingency for us to come into basically discrepancy fund of determining if we would like to spend those funds.
Like building another building?
Yes.
Okay. So you have the money for this?
Yes.
Okay. And 3 million of that is coming from,
3.15 is coming from the redevelopment commission. 250,000 is coming from the Ready 2.0 grant, which is a reimbursement. So the parks has to basically pay the 250, and then we basically get reimbursed as we go. The final contract completion date, we have abundance of time to complete that with the Ready 2.0 threshold that they just released. But the contribution that the Parks Department is also doing is a little north of 800. To date, the Parks Department has already spent 600,000 out of our capital non-reverting fund.
so this is funded already?
If we, as the Parks Department absolutely had to, yes, we would be able to fund this through our
And I don't think you
non-reverting.
and I even discussed that. I didn't realize that I knew you said that you could still do it under the BOD as far as, as a change order to the BOD.
Correct, because we do have that contingency in there to allow for that. If not, we would have to go through a few more processes to increase that guaranteed maximum price. And Julie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Takes a few more meetings to increase that guarantee maximum price, but it could be done. If we needed to, but at this date, we have that contingency within that 4.2 that we do not have to take that process. We can submit a change order within the process of the BOT.
Okay, let's just lay it out here. If we fund $175,000, are you planning on spending that someplace else?
No, sir, it is going to that barn construction project.
No, I mean, if we give you the $175,000 that you're not spending out of this bot, are you gonna, do you have other plans for the $175,000 that we're replacing?
We do, but at this time do not have any intention to including that in this phase. The inclusion would be a new, a renovated playground at Shelter 2. But that is not at this time ready for this type of discussion. So I do not have final pricing, but that would be the only thing that the board is still in consideration of including in this phase beyond adding this building. Part of the project would be a inclusion playground.
So we could, your request could have been for funding on that playground if you choose to do that. Is that correct?
If we choose to do that, yes.
Because you can move this building.
Yes.
Okay. Comments or questions from the board? Go ahead, Jeff, say it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just a little, that kind of threw me off too when you said you got money to do it. I mean, are you gonna come back to us later and go, hey, we need X amount of dollars for this or this? I mean, should you use what you've got now and come back to us later, or do you want ours now, or what's best and why?
The goal for our phasing through the completion of this project is not to add anything to this caliber at this time. The only time that we would be doing so if we were approached by another agency like this situation where we need to discuss to this process. So my board has spoken at length about the opportunities of this barn over the course of, well, we were approached in late July of this opportunity. So we took abundance of time seeing if this is the best viable option to be able to do so. When we are looking at adding a new barn for the maintenance department to give them a new facility, that was a 60 by 120, just for the structure itself as presented, was gonna cost $808,000 to do everything that we're speaking today. This process allows us to lock in our maintenance department where the facility of this caliber can last 40 years with the seal structure and how it's constructed. So adding this as our existing building, which was built in little late 2000s, our structure is currently 20 years old currently. We still have a lot of life left in the structure itself that we use as our maintenance department. This building would be able to increase our maintenance opportunities and really push into where we can store our equipment out of the elements through the season, more abundant internal storage to clean up our exterior storage to actually be good stewards and be clean and presentable to our community members who enjoy our park system. So this process of seeing where we can build a brand new, in our minds, roughly a brand new facility for $236,000 when it was going to cost us about $800 to do something very similar in the same square footage. We see that as a great benefit.
Just curious, what's in the garage, the barn next to the office? Because obviously there's some weeds growing up all around it and you can't even see it. So what do we got in there?
The three-sided structure or the brown barn near my
Brown one
office?
right next to the office.
Brown one is our winter storage for our deck chairs and also our Halloween decor for the Halloween hike. And we also use it as our storage for the Christmas tree for the town. It's a very large structure, it takes a lot of space. We also have additional equipment that is, that can be stored in there. That barn is primarily used as a cold storage and for special events.
How will this building match up to the other buildings that we're gonna have in there or want to put in there eventually? Cause I don't want, I mean, obviously I'm outspoken on the mini barn down by the soccer fields. I think that looks trash and it should match the block building. We should add on to that versus having a donated mini barn. But is this gonna be uniform to what we're going for up there?
The color that we have on the barn, that is on this barn now, is very close and similar to what the current maintenance facility is. The restroom facility that we're adding to the south end of the building is color match going out. It's a block building too, so for more stability reinforcement, but it'll be color match coming off of that building like it was built all together at one point in time. So the color match is very close. You will see it, but at a glance, it'll be hard to tell the difference. The difference that you'll see is the height. This structure is 2 feet taller than our current maintenance facility. So it will stick out to that caliber, but the color scheme will be very close to what we already currently have.
So that's already been talked about?
Yes.
Okay.
And if it is like a glaring, once it's there, we have the capability of being able to paint the steel that's on the building to match color.
That's like a breezeway or something that connects those? Is that what that's gonna?
Yes, so the board is looking at the option of marrying with a 2-walled structure to provide designated office space and meeting space for our maintenance department. We're still working those figures. Those we are internally looking at, that would be a cost that the Parks Department would take. That's not currently approved. We're still waiting on those final numbers. That was not, when we looked at we originally looked at bringing this cold storage building and attach it roof line to roof line to our existing building, and that is basically an engineering feat that would be impossible. Possible, but not financially possible. My engineers chuckled whenever we discussed that, so they said you don't want to see that number.
I'm just gonna clarify what Jeff asked. This looks like 2 grays or 1 gray, 1 white,
It is a off-white.
and so the buildings you're doing are gonna be off-white and gray?
So our
Not
current
brown?
structure is, it's basically the off gray with the darker, it's like a beige brown. That's the wainscoting on the building. That is basically going to wrap around to the back side, so this structure would sit to the back left, the west
Jeff,
side.
you wanted all to match, not. Stand out.
Comments from the board? I mean, I understand that it is a bargain, given a freedom. I don't know if you're settling, I don't know if this is the best we can do at this time. Obviously, what they're saying is, we'd like to see them all match. And I don't know, the wainscoting that was put in place there on the other one was an add-on, and it was trying to make it look attractive. I don't know what can and cannot be done. I guess the part that I'm still a little taken back by was the fact that it will still fall within that 4.2. You had expected to spend that much money. I don't know whether this is going to be something that we're going to, that you're gonna come back and add to it and say, well, it's still within that 4.2. It's still within that 4.2. That's the whole point of the BOT, is that it doesn't keep escalating and keep climbing. What we're doing right now is we're defeating the point of the BOT by adding to it, by adding to the funding. We're doing a change order outside the BOT. We're doing a funding change order, I guess is what I should say. But I also don't know, I know you don't want to pass it up, but you do have funding in place to do it. Who's to say that if this happens, that you're not going to run into other problems? So I don't know. It's up to this council how we're going to do it.
That's my concern too. I mean, if you got the money already, why would you not spend it? Why? I mean, obviously you think it's the right decision. You think you need it. You think it's gonna fit. You think it's a bargain. It's gonna line up. It's gonna look great. But if you still have part of that money, I just don't want you coming back later and then we need more money. You know what I mean? Like, let's use what we got and then we'll go from there.
My board is looking at this money was allocated to our department, in the food and beverage. It says park funds. The board would like to use those funds for said building because we have continued maintenance. We have projects that are coming up for the pool that is going to take some considerable financial components to bring it to caliber. We still have the existing pump system that is in the aquatic center is 36 years old. It is the existing structure, minus a pump or two that have been replaced because of those going bad. But the main structure itself in the pool is the existing structure installed 36 years ago. The walls of the pool system need considerable touch and replacement. We did that back in 15, 16, where we had to reinforce one of the walls. We may have to do the same type of replacement. The slide, that brand new is $250,000. We need to resurface and refurbish that. That's another upwards of $74,000 that we're looking at repairs. So that is why I'm here tonight, for my board seeing those coming down the pipeline, where if we have funds to be able to be used and allocated in this year's funds.
So you'll just be keeping this in reserve for maintenance?
Yeah, like I stated, the only reason why we are able to do so is because of that guaranteed maximum price. Our intention was not to try to spend $4.2 million. Could we? Absolutely, we could. But the goal was to stay within what we had designed at the start. This came into our opportunities. We see it as a bargain and savings to be able to bring what we wanted that was going to cost upwards to $1.3 million turnkey to $240,000. That's why I'm here tonight. My board asked and requested that we be able to spend the allocated funds that were allocated for 2025 for the Parks Department at the food and beverage.
I'm going to say that this council's never balked on just about everything you brought to us. You're the one that said we're going to do this within the BOT. It limits the way that the bidding process and the choice of contractors keeps it with the same group that's already doing it. You said, I'm going to do this within the BOT. We have funding within the BOT. I don't think that this council is saying, okay, if we don't spend it on this, we're not going to spend it on anything else. When you say, hey, we've got other projects down the pike, I think that this council will be very open-minded to fund those projects. Just to say, well, it's in the checkbook, let's spend it, I don't think that would make us very good keepers of the funds. So I would like to see other projects myself personally and fund those.
I was wanting to bring this council the full proposal of the slew of everything, but the pricing are taking longer than I anticipated, and this barn will disappear if we don't act.
But you have the money to do the barn. You could have already done the barn, is that correct?
Pending the process and timeline from the owner, yes.
Yes, but I mean, you have the funds to do this. You can write a check out of your checkbook instead of looking at a different checkbook.
Correct.
Okay. Comments from the board? Motions, questions?
I hate for us to not be a participant in things. What, I mean, what would be the difference as far as, I mean, if you've got it, spend it, and we'll be here as your backup for repairs or other. I mean, we're not gonna let you dangle. I mean, if you got it, then whether we keep it in the food and beverage or you keep it in yours, it's always gonna be there for you. Is that,
No, that's
I mean,
100% understandable. The concern from my board is we don't know those prices of those items: pool wall, the pump system, the slide. We have the slide figure, option 1 or 2, but the other components of that, the playgrounds are coming to age. Our shelter 2 is our oldest structure. Playground wise, that was built in 05. Sustainably safe wise, it's good. But are we coming to where we're losing the attention from other amenities that are coming up around us? Well, yes, other amenities around us are coming to fruition, new shiny things. And this council has absolutely 100% helped us be able to improve one of the oldest parks in our system with Old Town Park. We did that absolutely 100% with you guys. The process of adding a brand new restroom facility and the playground, and that is still the shiny gem that a lot of uses are occurring there. So the process of basically having the concern, if we don't know what that number is to do those other repairs, but we had this number, that is why we chose to come before you this evening. But that's,
Yeah, but basically direction I'm getting is, we're willing to help. So if we're willing to give you the $200,000 or whatever, why would we not help with other projects? So why not spend what we got? And then when you get those numbers, then, if you need the help,
like I say,
we're there. I mean,
more than a willing participant.
yes, 100%. And
yeah.
I think
I'm not before you saying that you're not. You 100% are. You absolutely support us 100%. You've been here since I've been before you, speaking on behalf, 100% working with us. We have done great things in the short 3.5 years, two almost, that I've been here. We've done leaps and bounds of what we've been able to do. And I would not be able to do so without what we've been able to do so with you. So.
So the options that we have is approve this request for $175,000 out of food and beverage, or to ask him to bring us other projects in lieu of that, or just tell him no. So I need a motion one way or the other.
I'm not up for saying no. I mean, I think we're here for support you wherever you need it, actually. I don't know the difference between what you've got and what's back here for you that can be distributed when you need it.
And I may have numbers before our next meeting, but I can't speak with that with 100% certainty. I literally email you the cost of the renovation of the slide tomorrow, but the other projects, we don't have that cost.
Are they projects that need to be done, or are they projects that you think, well, there's $200,000 in this fund, let's spend it?
No, sir. Those those need to be done. The slide has to be refurbished. It is coming to a safety concern of, we've been able to patch it and seal it to our best ability, but it's coming beyond the standpoint of what our staff are capable of doing. We already surfaced it once. The cost comparison of building a brand new one versus resurfacing is I mean, $64,000 versus $250,000. I mean, for a slide. The reinforcement of the walls, the pool drain, floor deck drain that is along with that process of the pool wall, that's 100% something that has to be done. That is not something that just because we have money, we want to do it. It's something to keep in standard, keep safety qualifications up, and be able to normal operations, which I know this board has stated when we started this process, that is 100% things that you guys would continue to support. So
If we approve this food and beverage money tonight, the money you set on, will you be able to use those funds to complete those projects, or are you gonna come back for more food and beverage money?
the process of being able to I can tell you with 100% certainty, we can resurface the slide with what's allocated in this year's funds. But beyond the repairs for the pool wall, I don't have that figure, so I can't state with certainty. The last time we did that, it certainly wasn't $100,000 worth of repairs, but it certainly wasn't inexpensive. It was 30,000, I think, for the last repair that we did for the pool wall.
But you can't do those things within the bot, is that correct?
Correct. No, that would be a completely slew change, and we would come out of our property line for the easement for the construction. Unfortunately, no. So I can go back to and have a full proposal for options for this council to consider. We're still 30 days from really any movement on the building itself from the property owner as of this morning. So we still have, there's the only thing fees-wise, which was already part of our contribution that the parks was covering, that $34,000 of engineering costs is what's currently activated. Beyond that, no additional cost for this building has been made, and won't within the next 30 days.
Are you gonna try to do the pool and stuff? I mean, as, over the winter, you're gonna try to get,
If we can,
yeah, if it's
we're
suitable.
getting to Buttonbaum and Moore, who did the original build-out and design, and the most recent repair, is one of the firms, and then Spear Corporation. Those are two of the main kind of manufacturers for commercial pools in the region. So both are very responsible. We've worked with both in different capacities. So we're working with both on seeing what the prices come back to. But we have currently one for the slide. We need additional because of the cost, but
Yeah, I
which
think everybody just doesn't understand that if you've got that money there, spend it, and then we'll back you up when it comes to all that other stuff. I mean, I think that's what is being said.
and 100% agree.
Yeah,
I
you know, I mean,
I'm right with it. The process of that, like I stated before, I wanted to come with literally, here's an a la carte menu.
yeah.
These are items that
has to be done.
100% has to be done for regulations, quality concerns, and safety.
Yeah.
These are the nice new things that we could do. I wanted to bring that 100% to the council in full proposal. It's just everybody wasn't matching to my time frame.
Do you think it will happen by the next meeting?
I will absolutely 100% push because we're enough time frame at their delivery. I was going to potentially receive their numbers this week, so we're right there at that time frame. So
Yeah, but again, I don't like pushing. Let's get it, make sure it's right.
yeah,
Well,
meaning
yeah, he's
I'm
gonna
pushing the
make sure-
people that already have been on site. We spent a whole day
Right,
going through the
yeah,
process of
yeah.
going through all the bidding of what they need to give me a number for the replacement and repair. So That's what I mean by push, is
Yeah,
push the
well,
people that are supposed to give me the number of how much it's gonna
I
cost.
think you're doing great things with the park, and a nice park system is really important. So I'd be a willing participant.
And we're getting a lot of traction with this project. A lot of people are starting to see and they're wanting to do more, too. We have friends in this room, that we're working on, potential plans. So, there's a lot of things, that are happening, that are good things with this project. So this is just, example one. This family, out of the blue, approached me.
It's hard to turn down.
It is, especially when we started putting pricing together, what it would be new, so.
So,
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we, in lieu, have Phil, we'll use that money in lieu of other projects. Let's use what we got, and, when you need money for something, then we're gonna help, so.
I will do my best to, at the next meeting, to have a breakdown of what that can go to.
okay, so the motion is to use current funding? Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Josh Gregg, 5-0.
Thank you.
Do you have a department head report?
Besides, we might need to think next meeting about establishing trick-or-treating hours. We've done 5 to 8 the last few years. We have our Halloween hike on the 25th. We are bringing in some brand-new attractions, for that. You'll start to see some of those Halloween-esque things pop up around the park. But other than that, we have a good stewardship of the before and after school program with the Morrisville School Corporation. We have nearly 400 kids in that program, and we are fully staffed, looking at adding more. So definitely being good stewards and trying to get more kids involved and young and older adults back into workforce of working with kids. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have only one other department head here. You might as well wander up with him.
Good evening, council. Just one major thing on our list right now is the community crossings grants coming up. And there's the big project on Carlisle Street, and you have, in front of you have a packet I sent out. It's what Banning sent out, so it's called an overview. So Mark Butler here from Banning, he can explain to you any questions or anything like that you have on that. And other than that, I'll leave it to Mark.
Thanks for having me tonight. Mark Butler with Banning Engineering. Grateful to have been your partner the last many years on Community Crossings since 2016. Town's been very fortunate to get all the money that you've ever asked for, which is great. A little bit about Community Crossings. It's a state grant, matching grant. There's been some changes this past legislative session, so the big thing is it's 80-20 grant for your size community. And it's for construction dollars for focused on roadway rehab. So the proposal I gave you was based on the scope that Brian asked me to scope out, so that typically on the community crossings, what we scope is usually mill and overlay type projects where we go through many streets around the town based on what the priority is, and then we go through and provide application assistance. We do some basic plans that are based on an aerial, so no actual survey, and then we help get through bidding and do some little bit of construction administration from the office. This proposal is different in the fact that it has several roads that the scope is not yet defined, but we're going to define that soon of what roads are included this year. But one that Brian wanted me to include is Carlisle Street near Bishop Avenue and the box culvert that is underneath that road. And that's one reason why the cost is higher than average. So the things that are included in that are above and beyond what we normally have to do is we have to do topographic survey there at the site. Because of the drainage way, we have to do a regional general permit, which is an environmental permit through IDEM, in order to replace that box culvert, put a new one in. We have to do more, we have to do a drainage analysis to size the box culvert properly, and then we have to do detailed box culvert design plans. So if you were to kind of silo how much money is focused on the box culvert itself, I did a number, it's 31,700, and the rest of it, which is 24,200, is attributed to the normal kind of standard operating procedures that we have for the rest of the roads and community crossings. So with that, I'd like to know if you have any questions.
24,200. That was 500. I thought it was $5,000 this year. The oversight. I'm serious.
Oh, for oversight, or
Well,
let
not
me,
for the oversight, for the community crossings matching grant. I think there was a claim in there where you had billed us $4,500 year to date on this one, on this past one. You're saying the 24,200 is just if we weren't even doing this here, because the other side of it is the estimates on this bridge are what do you say, 300,000?
Rough estimate,
We're probably going to use, or we budgeted about 200,000 for our match. If this entire project is 800,000, and half of that is going towards this bridge, there's not going to be a whole lot of other roads that we're going to be able to do. And it just, I didn't think it was $24,000 last year. Historically, what have you been as far as our contracts with you?
yeah, historically, we're somewhere between 30 and 35 is typically where we've been in the last probably 5-6 years, I would say. That's top of my head, so, yeah. Just of note, this does not include construction management or observation. We kind of talked about that. We did do that in the past. This is a more involved construction process. We do recommend you do that, but we did not include that in our proposal. Another thing to consider is that the box culvert itself is at a skew, and the parcel on the north and the south, there's not a lot of room right now in the road right-of-way to reconstruct that structure. And so we would recommend that, we're going to work with those property owners anyway, but we recommend that the town perhaps pursue an easement for that so that you can maintain that perpetuity. Based on legal opinion, you could do it with a right of entry if you wanted to, but the easement kind of secures that long-term. Any of the survey exhibit and legal descriptions of those easements, we did not include that in this. That's a fairly minor, small cost. So I just wanted to throw that to you as well for consideration, so.
Would you have done some type of easement or survey on that when we had you do all of that ditch as far as cleaning and maintenance, and we went and purchased easements from the different people? I mean, you guys listed those where we needed to be. Would you already have that part of it done, you think?
I recall,
Because we
that
started
would have
at Squealers and went all the way to the county line. And that was one of those lines where you would have went through there and said, this is where your easements are, this is what you need. Do you think that could already be done?
I don't know. I think that was before my time, so I'd have to do some research and get back to you on that. Yeah.
When does this application need to be in?
Yeah, application opens on October 1, needs to be in by October 31, end of October. And so technically speaking, you don't need to take action tonight necessarily, but I'd recommend you take action soon, so maybe next meeting. So,
I mean, how are you going to, you think you can get all of this done as far as the design and the engineering? I mean, I'm assuming the county says it's not a bridge, it's just a culvert. So I'm assuming we can just take those big square boxes and drop in there.
that's right.
So the engineering part of this, what would we have different there?
Sure. So, the geometry, the head walls guiding in the water to the box culvert itself needs to be designed through the hydraulic study. Also the exit points on that side, so there's more detailed design there. The way that I kind of have it in my mind is that we would put together a 30% design, and then we would put in an application to Community Crossings based on that and continue forward and design it until, presumably the awards would come out around, I think, January, if the time frame is kind of matching what has typically been done, and then we get it out to bid right away to get as good a pricing as we possibly can, and then the design would be finished before it goes out to bid.
Do you think that 30% will give us a good enough feel for the estimate of the?
I think we would get it to at least 30%. I would like to get it even further than that, maybe a 50%.
You have to work a little bit harder.
You'll have to speak to Jeff about
He's
that.
not even paying attention.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Now, they have to see all the design on it and the hydraulics and everything, and,
At the time of application?
yeah.
No. What they have to see is a detailed cost estimate. Now, I will caveat that, is that they've released their frequently asked questions document, but they've not released their technical requirements yet. So
We don't know what-
it's a little bit in flux,
Yeah.
because NDOT hasn't released the full packet of information yet on this round. But marrying up to what they have released, it looks like it's gonna be just like previous years. So we just have to put in our funding letter, our cost estimates, the typical things, so.
Well, I'd ask you to sharpen that pencil. It doesn't look like you changed any of these numbers at all. Jeff?
Yeah.
Can you guys do this as a park bot? Just thought I'd ask. $5,000. It's $5,000. Comments from the board? Does the Senate Bill 1 take effect on, do you know, does Senate Bill 1 take effect on this where our population is less than 10,000 and it moves to 2080?
This one is an 80-20, I believe. So you fall into the 80-20 match. What I,
And then he gets it.
what's that?
And then he gets it. Go ahead.
The one thing I don't think that comes into effect yet is the, in discussion of the whole, if you have your excise and wheel tax stuff in there,
If you were going to estimate the oversight of the bridge part of it, what would it be?
I could get that number for you quickly, but I probably can't quote it right now. It would be based on expected time frame of construction and one person there for all day. So I could get that to you before, I could even, email it to you or whatever, or go through Brian, so.
But it could be done outside of this.
Yes, it could be it could be a separate contract, amendment to this, yeah.
Should we be concerned if we think we're gonna have to pick a contractor that has to be watched 24/7?
Well, you, as a town, you have to pick the lowest responsible bid, so.
The one thing that we have to kind of look at is the grant, the Community Crossing Matching Grant, will not allow us to pay or take into consideration this part of it. We cannot include this in there. So if we're using the MVH restricted as a match, we're gonna take $50,000 right out of the top of it. So that would limit us to saying, okay, now we're gonna do $675,000 worth, including this. So it is gonna cut back on our paving just a little bit, but we can fund it, but we just have to make arrangements on that. We just don't do as much this year. Comments or questions? Motions?
Motion is just on this part of it then.
Yes.
Move to have Banning move forward with a community crossing grant project.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Greg, Jeff, 5-0. So what we're gonna do is we will try to come up with some numbers. I'll work with Brian on that as far as where we're at, what we think our match can be, and kind of back into it from there. And then you guys maybe put together some numbers. Obviously, we'd like to get our passer number to 6.5, just because at that point in time, our restricted funding is not limited quite as much. But right now, we do use that exclusively for the grant match. So we will come back with you on that. If you would kind of get us some pricing, we won't be able to make any decisions. I think that maybe if Jeff could just come out there and sit and watch them, he's not doing anything else. We can do that. Did you have, okay, thank you. Did you have anything else, Brian?
I do for Brian. Brian, real quick, we met with some business owners on the ditch. Do we have a timeline on getting that cleaned out, or have we worked on that at all?
Which ditch is that?
Through Bolton, we met with the
They went in
business.
there a couple weeks ago.
Did they go in there and get
Yeah,
those done?
they,
Okay, I haven't been
filled it
through.
all down and
So
trucked some of
that's
that
all
stuff
done.
out of
Did
the
that go all the way through the cemetery, or did we look
No,
at that?
not yet, not yet. They just did that area right in there.
Sounds good.
So if we continue, we will, but we've been other projects.
I
right now.
understand. I understand. I haven't been through there since we've met.
Oh,
so
okay,
I was just
yeah, they
wondering
went in
how
there,
that
filled
went.
it out, pulled
Good.
some stuff out, so.
Okay, thank you.
Have you done anything with that culvert on Rooker, as far as cleaning it out?
They went in there back, well, we haven't had rain in forever, but, yeah, they cleaned it out, put some riprap around there, and, so, I mean, is there any other complaints? I haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't heard anything.
No.
I didn't know if they cleaned
Yeah,
it
they,
out or
they,
not.
they did get to
Okay.
keep that, the pipe actually underneath it was probably 3/4 full, so
Yeah.
they drug all of it out, ran a rod up through there, and so,
It'll make, flow better.
yeah, I hope so.
It'll, yeah, get along down out
Yeah,
of there.
yeah, just thing is, you're coming out of the woods, I mean, everything
Yeah.
gets washed down in through there,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's,
and then they,
yeah.
across the street, that church, they put all that parking lot in. All that water's coming right down through there.
Yeah, so, yeah. Anything else?
Thank you.
Legal counsel.
Two things for you. Real quick, you have another opioid settlement participation. These are for essentially generic producers of opioids that have reached settlements now. So it's whether or not we want to participate in that. I anticipate we're gonna have more and more of these as well, as these generics start to settle. I can either continue to bring them to you, or you can give authority to the executive to make that determination for participation in opioid settlements. But regardless, I'll need some action as to whether or not to opt in to this settlement.
You need a board member as the executive, meaning Tom or you, or just give you?
So I think, well, one, I'll need some action as to whether or not you're gonna participate in this settlement with Alvagen, Amneal, Apotex, Hikma, Endeavor, Mylan, Sun, and Zydus. So I'll need action as to whether or not we'll participate in that one. The other thing is, do you want me to continue to bring these to you in the meetings, or just give approval for the executive to move forward and make that decision?
In other words, I guess what he's saying is, we want to get all the money we can. We've already started, we're gonna do this. Do you want to have a discussion about it every time, or do we just want to say, every time we're able to participate, I'll sign off on it, or whoever's in this chair will sign off on it?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. So then he does need motion on this one.
Motion to participate in the, do I need to name all these?
No, just the proposed opioid settlement agreement.
Yeah. Motion to participate in the proposed opioid settlement agreement.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
And then, do you want to give me the authority to sign off on participation in the future?
Motion to give Tom, the president, the ability to sign off on each proposal as they come in.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Both of those were Greg, Josh, 5-0.
Tom, if you do get more of these, could you just forward those to us?
Yeah,
Just let us
that's
know.
what I can do, is
That's
I
fine,
can just
thank you.
send them.
Yeah.
Now, do I need to send those individually? When I copy, I always copy you. Do I need to send them individually?
No,
Or
because
can I send them as a
you can
group?
send it as a group to this
Okay.
council for that.
Okay.
And then the second thing is, last week we had a hearing on the Washington Street issue, which is the contempt action. We have 15 days to provide a brief to the court, and then the court will make a determination after that, so we'll let you know where that stands.
Anything else?
Nothing further.
Public comments. Motion for approval of payment of claims.
Motion to approve claims in the amount of $1,119,069.24.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Greg, Josh, 5-0.
Motion to approve payroll clearing in the amount of $220,623.58.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Town council comments, Jeffrey?
I have none.
Kirk?
None.
Josh? Greg?
Happy to be from Mooresville.
Our next meeting day will be Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Josh, Kirk, 5-0.